to get out of this race and out of our state. All run the Supreme Court on the truth. That's a value that should never change.
Record spending on dark money ads and mailers in a race for a seat in Arkansas's Supreme Court. It has been a very busy race so far. $250,000 to $750,000 being spent, poured into the election that will pick our next Supreme Court Chief Justice, smashing previous highs set at 2010.
And much of that money coming from outside groups. KARK4's Marcy Manley working for you tonight. And Marcy, we have no way of knowing who is behind the group paying for these ads.
And that, many would say, is the big problem and why they call it dark money. One Arkansas lawmaker attempted to shine a light on dark money ad spending, but he couldn't get the bill passed last year. Now we're seeing the biggest explosion in dark money spending in judicial races ever in Arkansas, leaving many to wonder who is behind it and what they want to get out of it in the end.
I've never been the favorite of the establishment crowd.
The Democrat Gazette calls Justice Courtney Goodson the ultimate insider.
This ad slamming Supreme Court Chief Justice candidate Courtney Goodson,
Owned by a corporate contributor to her campaign.
never asks you to vote against her
Call Courtney Goodson and tell her to fight for Arkansans, not trial lawyers.
or for her opponent.
I'm Judge Dan Kemp, and I've been a judge for over 35 years.
And because there's no call to vote, the Justice Crisis Network, an outside group based in Washington, D.C., doesn't have to tell you who the money comes from to pay for the ad or why.
That's the problem, that people of Arkansas have no idea who's paying for it, and they're intentionally subverting the law.
If they did use express advocacy and they did it in conjunction or coordination with the candidate, could they spend an unlimited amount of money?
But if a bill proposed by State Rep Clark Tucker had received approval from fellow lawmakers last session,
On this piece of legislation.
he believes Arkansans would have a better idea of who's trying to influence the race for the high court's top seat.
So my bill would have required the people who buy political advertising on television, on the radio, in the newspaper, or whatever, all they have to do is say who's paying for the ad.
But the new trend of dark money from outsiders funding political campaign messages in state races likely not disappearing anytime soon.
We think the role of money in politics and judicial selection has really been spinning out of control nationwide.
Justice at Stake, a judicial elections watchdog, saying Arkansas has already broken records this year for the highest outside spending in a judicial race for the state.
It's a real concern. With a couple of weeks left to go in the campaign, we strongly suspect that there will be more money, more advertising, and voters will be barraged with these judicial campaign ads right up until Election Day.
According to FCC filings, Judicial Crisis Network has spent more than $500,000 in TV ad spending in Arkansas alone. But why is what no one is sure of.
The role of outside spenders in these races raises more questions than it answers, because the public simply doesn't know what the agendas of these groups might be.
No idea, because I don't know who's paying for the ads, and so, but I think the people of Arkansas have a right to know that.
Tucker and others pushing for transparency in the process say Arkansas voters have a right to know.
Paid for by Judicial Crisis Network.
Just who's at work on Arkansas airwaves. The Judicial Crisis Network has been involved in state Supreme Court races in other states. We've reached out to that group to ask what its goals are here in Arkansas and who it represents. We're waiting on a return call at this point. Both Goodson and Kemp have spoken out against the group's dark money ads in